Welcome to the channel of PACIFIC414. Show us this loyalty. Throw yourself onto the subscribe button and submit yourself to the live streams, gaming streams, and so much more. Pathetic Earthlings, I command you.
Big man authority! Money can put this change in my piggy bank any day.
Warning, due to adult language and humor, the following content may not be suitable for any viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following live stream or video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you.
Yeah, Baron, come on, man.
Baron Orman Tagge, Cashmoney007, PACIFIC414 are here to bring you all the pop culture and entertainment news, rumor, opinion, discussion, watch parties, reviews, reactions on PACIFIC414 Pop Talk.
I still get top billing, so there, yeah.
Oh.
Somebody has an ego. Welcome, one and all.
Except you, Phil.
Good evening and welcome, one and all, to this edition of PACIFIC414 Pop Talk, along with Baron Orman Tagge and Cashmoney007. I am your host, Mike, and tonight we are pleased to be welcomed by Magitek Mags. Now, many of you who are here on YouTube know Magitek Mags. You've seen her over by Fat Steven's channel when he's streaming Final Fantasy 16 and many other games. You've seen her on Corporeal Lifeform's channel. She's been over by Midnight's Edge. You can see her on Mornings of Mischief with Stone Loki, and you can also find her on her very own YouTube channel where at the moment she is playing Final Fantasy 6, but as she was telling us backstage, she is currently on hiatus. But we'll get into that.
I don't know who any of those people were.
Come on, Baron.
Baron, you want to start this early, Baron?
No, let's see if I can go a little longer this time.
That's what he said.
But I'm bummed.
I need to get that clip. I do.
Yes.
But of course, tonight we are going to find out about Mag's journey as a YouTube content creator, her love of Final Fantasy 16, and we're also going to discuss her views on pop culture. So, Max, thank you for accepting the invitation. I'm happy to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me, Mike. This is a pleasure. Thank you.
No problem. And before we begin, I do want to say hello to those of you who are currently in the chat. First person who was here was Apollomise Minion, and she says hello all. Hello, Apollomise.
Hi.
Hello.
And then we have Low Spec Linux Laptop, everyone's favorite penguin.
Hello.
And we also have our guest of honor, Magitek Mags.
Wow, double duty.
Yeah.
And he was a guest on Pop Talk last Wednesday, along with Troy Pacelli and Netters Network. Age Boomer. Good to see you, Age Boomer.
Hey,
The quiet guy.
Yo.
We also have JetSparks373 here as well. All right, next. When it comes to YouTube, how did you get your start on the platform? Not necessarily doing videos or streaming, but what drew you to the platform, certain channels,
Oh
certain
gosh.
personalities?
Because for many years, I think this is before the YouTube Google merger. Like this is like the original era of like early social media days. I had an account on YouTube, and it's long since gone after that merger because I couldn't remember, and I just wasn't on YouTube as often. Um, but I would check it out every once in a while. I remember back in my college days, you would always hear the OMG shoes video that was out and everything. But really, how I got really into it all was back during the Last Jedi era of stuff, and I remember watching that, and then because I liked the Clone Wars, that show, the animated series, and I was looking forward to season 7. And I didn't like some of the episodes, but I definitely loved the last 4 episodes of that season. I thought they were fantastic, and it kind of dawned on me. I'm like, why is this so much better than the Last Jedi? Like just kind of like what the heck is going on? Like you just don't understand what the heck is going on. Well, I've always known that Hollywood has not been too kind to certain people, and without going down that road, to certain voter types anyway. But now suddenly they are starting to be a little bit more vocal about it and everything. So I just kind of did some investigating on entertainment in general. And I remember going down some Reddit material that brought me, because during my Google searches I would look up stuff, whatever, and then it came across in one Reddit thread. I was talking about Disney, Star Wars, and everything, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of how I've been feeling. And then somebody posted one of Mahler's videos,
Okay.
and he brought me into this whole sphere. Like, he and EFAF brought me or introduced me to Neurotic, to gamers Jeremy and Ryan, and John 3PO, and Midnight Edge, and just all of everything opened up. So for Drinker, all the space, diversity type of stuff. Like it's kind of like a domino effect. When one thing falls, another more falls, kind of thing, like a ripple effect.
What? 1 second, Max. It's hard to hear you. You're getting a little muffled.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's clear
You
now.
were. Now it's
Okay.
better.
I thought it was me, so
I thought it was
Baron.
Baron too at first.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I thought it was my internet at first.
That's weird. Is it? Am I good now? Right now?
Yeah,
You're
you
good
sound
now. You're
great.
good now.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good now. Yep.
So where did I lose y'all? Sorry.
You were talking about Mahler, Geeks and Gamers, Drunk
Yes.
3PO.
So
Right.
like I got introduced to some of them, like as Heels versus Babyface and everybody there on Mahler's EFAP. Hey, Samael. And so of course, when one person you start following and listening to, you get introduced to other people, and so on and so forth. That's like a ripple effect. And anyway, so I started really listening to Midnight's Edge in the morning a lot and hanging out with them. But I didn't voice myself at all in the chat. It was more like I was one of those lurker types. And then the whole Gina Carano thing happened. And then I haven't shut up since. So it's just, then they modded me there, which, has always been an honor, and, definitely been a huge opportunity. And even though I never modded in a live chat before in my life, they definitely thought I was worthy of it. So I did, and I've gotten introduced to everybody, like including you guys, Loki, Fat Steven. Like it's just been a whirlwind of events, and only last year people I started hopping on, or really not really last year. It was probably a little bit earlier than that. Started hopping on my first member stream. My first time hopping on was Midnight's Edge member stream, and then I started getting braver to go on streams, and it's been it's been a whirlwind of of fun. Of course, as we've all seen in the YouTube sphere, we've seen a bunch of changes that happened, and different relationship changes and everything. But it's been a fun time, and it's been a blast overall. And then, of course, I started working on my channel, and I know I've been a very slow as molasses person on it. But it's because, like, some of us out there, we work full time, and I can't. We have work-life balance situations too. So it's a slow and steady process. But you know what? That always wins the race, doesn't it?
Yep, and that was one of the things that a year ago I was on a panel with you on Pop's channel, and
Yes.
that was one of the things that we discussed. Trying to balance everything with our regular everyday lives to try to get content out there, whether it's videos or live streams.
Right. And I'm definitely an ideas person. Now, to execute them, that's a whole different matter and story, because I'm not an editor. Like, I am not born in the editing graphics sphere of things. Hey, DJ. Hey, thank you for being here.
Feed your turtles, DJ. All right, sure. Okay.
Hi, Prismatics. I see you in the chat. Sorry, I didn't mean to not say hi to you, but
Well,
but yeah,
one of those turtles got away, by the way.
but it's just one of those things where, for me, I know, like, I want to learn it myself because I'm that type of person, but I know I never went to school for this sort of stuff. I never taught it myself. And I know people have suggested editing softwares and such, but I'm just like, but I am also one of those perfectionist types that likes to make sure things actually look presentable, regardless of how third grade level it is. So
Yeah, because when it comes to making your own thumbnails, that's not always easy, depending on what you want
exactly
in that thumbnail.
Exactly. And it's, again, I'm not an expert at any of this stuff. So, it's really trial and error, and, really kind of practicing at this stuff as well. And, again, that requires a lot of time. That's time set aside. Oh yes, Tara's my favorite. But that requires setting aside time. And when you're an accountant like I am, and you don't get home most nights until 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, it can get a little, wild sometimes. But it's, and plus too, I'm also a supporter type, so it's always so very difficult for me to, like, okay, I'd much rather, if I have to choose my priorities in time, it would be wanting to hang in the chats of everybody and just talk to people. And if people invite me on their panels, and I try to be on their panels. Mags is yes, I try to be. Samael, thank you. But yeah, that's to me the most important thing. Like, for me and my channel, I want to entertain people and give them some laughs and something to, something a little, not necessarily a little different, because I'm probably not that special in the grand scheme of YouTube, but something that's just other than talking about ugly entertainment that's out there. Just laugh. Just let me play a game that I love, and it's another version of it, and just kind of, for lack of a better way of saying it, just like, shoot the crap and just kind of, just laugh about stuff, and can, kind of like an open bar, like, come on in, pull up a stool, let's have a conversation and just laugh. So
yeah, sit back, relax, join the conversation. That's the model for Pop Talk. And one of the things that we like to have here on Pop Talk isn't the occasional watch party, to get away from discussing all the entertainment and pop culture news and give us a break.
Yeah. And I think for me, that sort of stuff is, it's almost like a balm in a sea of just like filth, because it, we hear it all the time. We hear these discussions of like, this is crap here, this is crap there. And it's, definitely legit criticisms of all its entertainment, but eventually it does wear on you regardless of its legitimacy. And I'm a definitely one for balance. And I think people need to have balance in their lives of, let's talk about something that we do like. and let's talk about something very passionate out there that we can share with others. And it can be the same type of discussions, but there's nothing more contagious than someone's genuine passion for something.
I mean, when you hear it in their voice, or if they're on camera, you not only hear it in their voice, but you see it on their face, just how excited they get about, certain topics and certain, IPs. Someone could be down about current Star Wars, but when they start talking about the original trilogy, their face just lights the room.
Exactly.
Well, it's also, Mags, they'll say this is shit, and then you ask them why is this shit? It's just shit. And I'm like, well, that's not really the best answer, but
No.
I mean, you're
Not at all.
you're absolutely right. You gotta get, like, what was it? One of the things that I always learned in school is that thank you, Prismatics. Hopefully you can get some rest, because you're a little ahead of us in the time zone. But yes, one of the things that I always learned in school was that, okay, so here's your statement. It is shit. Okay, well then you got to give 3 bullet reasons to back up that claim. You can't. Yeah, you can have an opinion. It can be the thing is, people don't realize is that yes, you are allowed an opinion. You're even allowed an incorrect opinion.
right.
But you have to be able to give your reasons to that opinion. And a lot of times people don't want to do that, because then they know they can be what do you want to call it, debated on, and it can easily be turned around. And that's the problem. Like, you can argue aesthetics, you can probably argue feel, you can probably argue genuineness of what it is, and whether this is a for instance, now in the news with Final Fantasy 16 that's out now, people are quote unquote saying that this doesn't feel or is Final Fantasy, and I've been watching like 3 or 4 different streams on it, and I'm just like, I have no idea what people are talking about. So it's
Right,
like,
because
it's kind of like that. It's kind of, but the thing is, a lot of these opinions are coming from games journalists, and it's not genuine fans of the series in general.
Right, and it's just, there's a lot of purists out there who like turn-based, and I love turn-based,
I
but
do too.
I'm okay with the combat from Final Fantasy 13. I'm okay with the combat from 15. I don't mind that combat, but yes, I do love turn-based as well. But you get different outlets. One of them I love to mock personally, Mags, is The Gamer, because they put out some of these most ridiculous articles I've ever read in my life about, and it's always like, we did this. Who's this we you're talking about? You're talking about you, not us.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And that's the thing that you'll notice is that the people who, because I wouldn't say I'm an OG gamer of the series itself, but it's kind of like I have played, like, meaning I didn't play Final Fantasy 1 when it originally came out. Like, that's not what I mean by that.
Me
but I
either.
mean,
Right.
but I have played in the pixel game era, when it was the pixel game era on NES and SNES. And I have played games on the PS2 and the PS1 era. So it's like, I do have a range of perspective, and especially I can understand different decade and era and generational perspective on it. But it's like people who claim that it isn't, I'm like, that's kind of your subjective situation. And if you're saying that, because I've seen this a lot, and it, again, I'm not saying that this is, people have their favorites in this series. Obviously, I have mine, and for the most part, a lot of long-time Final Fantasy fans say Final Fantasy VI is the better one. But it's always going to be our debates in fandom. That's always going to be the case. However, I have seen a correlation between, and I can't confirm, so it's just I'm looking at kind of like scanning and what I've seen through reviews of things, but I've seen it where people are like, Final Fantasy 16 is not like the Final Fantasy 7 remake. And I'm just like, so basically your entire premise of what Final Fantasy is just Final Fantasy 7. that's your premise. That's still a weak argument. in my
Right.
opinion.
Well,
It is.
I guess even in the remake, they changed some things where you meet Sephiroth and different that, which is odd. It's just a remake. It's just supposed to be graphically better, which it
And
is.
the only thing, and something that Pat Stevens said earlier today, which dawned on me, it's still the same combat style. Is still the same style. It's just the only thing that's completely added or different is that you can't switch between characters. It's the
Right.
same combat style. So it's like, what is the
Yeah.
what are they complaining about? It's like,
It's just they don't. I get it. A lot of people don't like change, but I don't. The action RPG is not bad, and then you have the media who's like, well, they say this. It's like none of this is bad. Just because something expands doesn't mean it's bad. The combat is not bad in the Final Fantasy VII. It's not bad. I feel in 15. The combat. It's okay if it expands, but turn-based is nice too. I think they can both work.
Yep. I think there's I think what people fail to remember is that a lot of these games are really going to be heavily going into the immersion aspect of it, and the reality check is if they want the immersive feel, your turn-based is going to kind of cut that off a little bit. And the reason being is because it's stationary. It's a little too stationary or stagnant. And the reason being is like in a real battle, if you think about it, in a real life battle, there are moving parts continuously. It's not it's not just like stop, pick your skill, and then
Pieces
do it.
are always in motion.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's where they're trying to lean towards. A lot of games are like that now, and the indie games are going to be more. Not every indie game, but I've seen some indie games out there that are, trying to bring back the old turn-based system. But it's just going to be. I like it too. I mean, but it works for the pixel type games, or it works for that style of gaming. There's going to be different styles of gaming all
Right,
throughout,
right.
and there's going to be an evolution of that, and. I'm not saying, of course, to me, when I think of something like that, turn-based versus, just continuous action, for me, that's just based on preference. It doesn't make something better or worse because of that. I think that's a weak argument in my opinion. But, again, I prefer pixel games because I think they have the better storylines, but that's, again, my preference. So it's like... I mean, you can't say it's not something. But for one thing, I appreciate with Final Fantasy 16 is that it's the same developer team as the same team that came in and literally saved Final Fantasy 14 because that was a nightmare. So they came in and they had to completely revamp the entire thing
Right.
and created it themselves. And then they were on fifth. They obviously earned their keep. And they got Final Fantasy 15, and I do appreciate, because I have seen a lot of nods to previous Final Fantasies, especially they are huge fans of Final Fantasy 6. They are huge fans of, you can see it, and you can see you can even see little nods to like Final Fantasy 10. Yeah, it's like they have these little subtle nods to things that it's not specific, but it's like, okay, I can see where they're trying to kind of say, hey, this is Final Fantasy, like we're bringing it back. Because I think one of the things that I've not really cared for, me personally, with a lot of things from the PS1 to the current era of Final Fantasy is that everything is become more modern looking or industrial or whatever. It feels like it's taking away from the fantasy side of it, and it's becoming more sci-fi. And I'm like, but that's, again, I grew up with the OG stuff, so I'm a little biased in the medieval.
I was gonna say we all have our biases when it comes to a franchise that's been around for a while because, take a look at Mega Man. It has a certain style.
Yep.
If you go away from that style, people are gonna be up in arms, just like with Final Fantasy, like you were talking about.
Yep.
Because of current technology, they're not gonna use the turn-based system in a lot of the games anymore. They might do it in certain sections for a little throwback. But when you have the ability to have an open world and go around, these little villages and areas in order to find items, they're going to try to get you as immersed into that world as they can. Now,
Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly that some franchises are stepping away from what they are known for and going into that more sci-fi realm, but I guess that's the sign of the times.
Yeah, and it's I like for me personally, I'm glad the medieval feel and aesthetic is back in Final Fantasy in terms of Final Fantasy 16. Now, I'm not saying it's the greatest game of all time. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I appreciate the fact that this developer team, because I've heard talks of, it's like when you're on the internet, you hear things from different people, but people have said that this, Final Fantasy hasn't been the same since 10 or since, this game or whatever. And I think, I absolutely agree with people. I think it's kind of steered away from what was Final Fantasy. Like, what was the original intent of Final Fantasy? And it's a medieval world with a little steampunk flair because you have airships, for crying out loud. But it's based around a fantasy aspect, like a swords and sorcery with steampunk feel to it. And it's like, I think that kind of has lost its what it is, and that was the charm of what Final Fantasy was. Of course, people can argue like, oh no, this is my favorite this year, or this is, my favorite is 13, and again, everybody has their preferences, but I think the argument can be said that yes, it's a little different, but of course, each Final Fantasy is going to be set in a different world that's going to be completely different from the world that we played previously. So it's it's a fun debate amongst fans and fandom in general. I think the general consensus is that Final Fantasy has felt that it hasn't been the same in a long time, but I don't think anybody has quite pinpointed why. A lot of it has to do with the fact it's Square Enix, but because when it was Squaresoft, it was a lot better. But we're not going down that road.
Well, I mean, they have an ethics department, which is just stupid. But
yes, but
well, so do we. But that's besides the point.
Are you the head of the ethics department?
No, it's Cash. Cash is
I'm not going to be a head of any ethics department.
But yeah, so I've enjoyed watching the game so far. I like some of the departure from it being a PG-13 aspect to there's a lot of adult themes and a lot of maturity here, but they don't take it. It's not a funny aspect of it. They take it like realistically how people would react in the real world with stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's not not made to be like a Marvel, like a MCU like funny thing, like a Taika Waititi concept. It's like, no, this is actually serious stuff that people are literally dying in this world. And other things. And there's a lot of intrigue. There's a lot of interesting political intrigue, not necessarily the kind of politics that we're talking about in the real world, but more like there's factions and kingdoms and, and the use of magic and battle like this. So it's definitely a bigger world in terms of multiple layers of things.
Yep. And which in a way it answers this question from Release the McCracken.
Do you think Final Fantasy 16 is too risque? It seems to be just for adults this time around with the storyline and language. That I can posit. Actually, I can kind of argue this. Not necessarily. They are pushing it more than normal. Release the McCracken, but I will say this as somebody who loves Final Fantasy VI. There's a lot of adult themes in that as well. I mean, it's heavily implied. It's subtle, but it's not as subtle in Final Fantasy 16. But it's highly implied and subtle that Celeste got, when she was captured, and
True.
and beat up and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things in that as well that there's multiple death scenes. There's like a literal, I mean, when Kefka kills General Leo, I mean, that was a terrible event. Can you imagine that in a remake type style like Final Fantasy VII? I mean, you're talking about taking something that the pixel art, while it definitely did its job, but can you imagine translating that to a Final Fantasy VII remake style? It's going to be
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be much more immersed.
Exactly. And there's going to be just same kind of amount of pushing the envelope as Final Fantasy 16, because there's a lot of things in that as well that, could be implied. And of course they had to, for Final Fantasy 6, they used every inch of that cartridge. Like, that was the biggest game to be put on that cartridge. That cartridge was literally had no more room. So
that was a feat for the Super Nintendo to be able to cram as much memory as they did back then onto that cartridge just to release the game the way they wanted it.
And it was funny because if you think about it, right afterwards, because there are some heavily Final Fantasy VII does take some heavily influences and some concepts from Final Fantasy VI, and originally Final Fantasy VII was going to be on the SNES, but when PS1 came out, they were like, nah, dog, we need more room. So that's basically how it. Not, of course, I'm probably dumbing it down, but that's basically like when you think about it, because it was on 2 discs. So yeah, there was, and that was a CD. So you're talking about a lot of content on much more content than the SNES. So
yeah, I mean, you look at it this way: when Final Fantasy VII came out for PS1, it was on multiple discs. When Metal Gear Solid came out on PS1, that was on multiple discs because you had Squaresoft and Konami and a few other companies trying to take advantage of these new systems, use them to their full potential.
Yep.
And real quick, I do want to say hello to your co-host, Mr. Tickle Trunk.
Hi, Mr. TT.
And I also want to say hello to Release the McCracken. Release the McCracken. Meet Phil McCracken. Phil McCracken. Meet Release the McCracken. Now get along.
Release McCracken. My question to you is, how do you feel on this Final Fantasy 16? For me, it's definitely a different perspective because I grew up with the pixel games as a child because I had 2 older brothers, and probably some of them I may not have. Probably 6 was probably one I probably shouldn't be playing because of some of the themes in it, but I still played it anyway. But that's that's besides the point. Because even, I would say even like Final Fantasy 4 is very tame. I think 6 kind of pushed the envelope on a lot of things. But again, I have to revisit a lot of the games because I haven't played them recently, so I can't really comment too much on that. But the thing is, for me, yes, thanks. But I guess for me, the thing for me is that clearly they're trying to do something different and new, because clearly something has not worked. Even though for me, I had 0 interest in Final Fantasy 15. I thought the premise was dumb, and I thought the characters and the story was just dumb and boring. I am not really an MMO person, but I may try 14 because I'm impressed with the developer team of 16. Because they seem like they actually care, and they're fans of Final Fantasy 6.
Can't beat that.
Nope.
Yeah, the important things.
Yeah, the important things. Checking off the list there for me personally. I remember watching my brother play 12 when it came out, and I liked the fact that it was going back to much like a medieval concept, but at the same time, I just could not get into the game itself. I didn't like the main character very much. I thought he was annoying to me. And then, 13, I remember watching him play that too, because I always liked watching my brothers play the games first because I wanted to see, like, I don't know, I just liked watching them because it was just fun and celebrating with them and everything, and then playing at later, of course. But Final Fantasy 13 was just boring to me. So I haven't been into really a Final Fantasy game since 10, honestly. And
Yeah.
I wish, and I feel that the overall feel to me is they've kind of departed themselves from it, and maybe the 16 is trying to say we're bringing it back to serious storytelling, and trying to bring it back to the feel of what Final Fantasy is. But that's just my opinion. But sorry, I'm gonna read. I like it, kind of like Game of Thrones.
Sorry.
It was more open during the intro, which is all I've played of it. Felt like Crash Bandicoot and the walled off areas. Well, Release the McCracken, what happens is a lot of the story starts making the world a bigger place. Like, there's definitely reasons for it, but at least it's still an open world concept. It's just a matter of there's going to be areas that are going to be far more open once you kind of complete certain things in the timeline. And for various reasons. And of course, that may not be everybody's cup of tea. They may just want it to be completely open and concept. But for a story-based game like Final Fantasy, it has to be more like you're reading a book. You can't just kind of think that the book, you're just going to, go, everything's open. No, you have to go page by page. And that may not be everybody's cup of tea, but that's kind of how Final Fantasy is.
So,
Max, you can't just skip ahead to the end of the book, because then you're going to miss a whole lot of story in there.
Yep.
And you're not going to know what's going on. So you
And
have to go through these games step by step. If there's a task that the game's saying you have to complete this task, it's scripted in the game. You have to complete it. There's no way around it.
Yeah,
Well,
and
then
also
you got to do it.
And also, it builds to the lore and the world building of the story itself. If you're going to skip ahead, you may be confused between what connects one thing to another, and it's a pretty, again, there's a lot of layers to this game in general that I think that you have to be very careful with how you speculation, of course, intrigue. You have to be very careful with not jumping around too much or powering through. It's not something like you just kind of just what do they call them? Rush plays or whatever you want to call them, or
Leroy Jenkins.
or as I like to call it around here, it's time to Rambo it. And what that means is, I've played, say, Tomb Raider, and I have a lot of enemies in front of me and behind me, and my health is low, and I decide, okay, it's time to go at it. It's time to just hope for the best and hope I make it through. And well, Baron and Cash and a lot of people here in the chat can attest. Oh, there he goes. He's dead again.
Oh,
Mike, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, so
go ahead, Cash. Go ahead.
All right. I was just saying, there's also this whole thing now about price, and they're trying to, a lot of these companies, and I think it's even greed on their part, Mags, is that they're saying these games are $70. Excuse me. And I'm like, is really any base game worth $70, or is this just more greed? Because, and Final Fantasy, of course, I wish it would just come out the same as the PC, but no, we can't have that. It has to be exclusive, and then it goes to Epic Games, which is a weaker version of Steam, and then we have to wait for it to come to Steam, and then maybe it'll be even a better version by then, because just because it's on a better platform. But it just seems to me that it's always this greed, and even the PS5, it's like, oh, maybe I want to buy it, but where is all the excitement? I'm still waiting for Sony to bring all this excitement to their new console, and Microsoft is doing a poor job to an extent, but it's just crazy. Yeah,
and that's the sad part, because I think this could, if they marketed it. See, the problem is, though, Cash, if you think about it, though, there's too many white people in the game.
Oh, I know, right?
Oh no! I know. No.
That's the problem, because there's too many white people, and then you get these stupid journalists.
And
that's why
I love about this. You know what I love about this game? There's a lot of positive male role models in it. There's a lot of
how terrible.
There's a lot of the brothers. They they both love each other as brothers, like family. There's a bond there. There's several good male role models. There's several good uh, father figures. And you know what? And the women in this, not every woman is the bestest ever, and everybody is nuanced and they have their own issues and they have their own layers to them. It's not completely black and white, but you definitely understand who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. And there's even a woman villain in this that her background is definitely tragic, but at the same time she still chooses to be ugly in a way, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, Smeagol is a tragic character, and you can have some
Right.
sense of sympathy towards him because that's a well-written character. And just
Yes.
like with this character, it's a well-written character, but at the same time, she needs to end somehow. It's not,
Right.
the only way out is an ending for her. So it's kind of like, it's tragic, but at the same time, she's still a villain, and you can't, that's a well-written storyline. And
Yeah, it is because we've seen it a lot with Disney properties now, where
Yep.
they want to take one of their villains and they want to make them sympathetic villains.
yes,
Said, oh, they're misunderstood. No, you want a classic villain. You want a classic villain where they have a reason for being the way they are, and they continue to be the way they are because they think everyone's against them and they want everyone to pay for their pain and suffering.
and not only that, but it's like, okay, so yeah, so she has a tragic past, but she still chooses this path of evil and destruction on her own. And there's a character in there that absolutely loved her, but he couldn't save her either. And he's it's a very well written scene. It's just I'm not going to go too many spoilers because I'm sure some people may want to play the game. But for me, I was just like, wow, he didn't even, the character didn't even say anything. You just knew. And it was just like, wow, that's a very impactful moment because it makes sense later on. Again, you can't skip around a lot. It makes sense later on with certain strings of events, and it's like, wow, this makes complete sense. Who we're going to be speculating here on this character over here and everything else, and it's again with Final Fantasy. I know because one of the criticisms I heard from a game streamer said that they like the game. It's aesthetically pleasing, of course. The graphics are smooth. I mean, there's not even hardly like a problem with it. Like the loading times are great, that sort of thing. Like whereas you hear games all the time, it's like they're pooped out, and it's like, here you go, and they're $70, but it's a $70 turd. So clearly, this game.
Oh,
Yes.
I could talk about a $70 turd. It doesn't work.
but again, you can clearly see the TLC that they put into this game. Like they actually cared. The fact that they put out a demo shows how confident they were in the game itself. And they are very quick. If there was an issue at the day one or day two, whatever, they clearly fixed it because I haven't heard anything. Like they just were like done, like they didn't beat around the bush or anything. Like you clearly got a $70 game worth that is worth that money.
I would hope so.
Speaking of demos, is
What?
that something that you think that we should get more of before these games are even released? This way we can try them out, and if there are issues even inside that demo, we can let the developer and publisher know about it before they release the full product, and we have to shell out $70 and maybe we're only getting 5 cents worth of the game because of all the bugs?
That is a good point. I guess for me to counter though, my question back would be, if the demo was such an awful experience, would any goodwill that the company tries to do, especially since this demo came out like what, a month or two or a couple weeks before the actual game came out or something like that. So clearly they were 100% all in and being completely ready for live stuff. But can you, with this developer team, I mean, that's the thing. You can trust them on this one. But with the kind of the precedent that's already been set by a lot of gaming companies and developers in general, would you even trust them to even do their jobs?
I'm going to answer with no, you can't trust them to do their jobs. And I'll give you a perfect example. A game I'm currently playing, Jedi Survivor. That was supposed to come out on March 17th. They delayed it a month so they can work on some bugs and do some testing. They released the game on the 28th of April. And that game has had nothing but problems ever since it's been released.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should have to go into that game, change the graphic settings in the game, get off raise scanning in that game, turn off some features in Windows that are not essential, and do things to their graphics card drivers just to get the game to work properly. No one should have to do that.
No, and I haven't heard, as far as the streams that I have watched, I haven't heard anybody complaining about if there have been any kind of bugs. I would say they have been like maybe one or two in terms of maybe people spoke about it, but it's clearly like what was a recent game that was like Golem, like clearly that was a terribly done game, and there were bugs all over the place, and you heard it, a lot of those bugs. If there are any bugs in this game, I completely missed it because I have not seen any. It's been smooth loading screens. You don't even see like the wheel of death like going. It's like it looks like it's just like a well done movie of like cutscenes and everything else, and that's commendable on their part. That clearly they showed a lot of confidence in their demo to be putting it all out there. I mean, that's a lot to say here.
Yeah.
Here's a 2-hour sample of the game. We're confident enough that you're gonna like it.
Well, I think we've seen the problem with some of this is, I mean, I remember when Wolfenstein 3D came out, and they had a disc that was, basically the first like 3 or 4 levels that you could play. That was a demo to get you interested in buying the game. Of course, back then, that was a change of the game right there with having that first person shooter like it was. Many of the people are the people that design these games now. I think they've gotten so full of themselves that they think all we have to do is throw our name and the title, and people will just flock out there. And I think if you do have that demo out there for people to play, it will get excitement because let's face it, a lot of these game designers are losing that credibility.
Yep.
And how soon until people are not going to be buying? Are they going to wait until it's on sale? Somebody on this panel is kind of that way to get the game, and they don't mind waiting that long period of time. I mean, I remember the big failure of E.T. I mean, talk about a badly designed game. That was it, and basically killed the Atari. But I would like to see them myself coming out with little demos now, and I'm noticing on Steam that they have been doing a lot of demos lately.
Like a beta version of the game or something like that.
Right, and it doesn't have to be the full game, but just just like a first level or the first checkpoint or whatever it is, just to get you get the fire going and get you an idea how the game's going to go. Because as you've been playing the Final Fantasy, which of course I think is misleading. I'm going to sue them for false claims, because how can you have 10, 16 Final Fantasies? There's only one Final Fantasy. It's done. It's over with. Now we got 10 of them. That's lying to me. But no. But in all seriousness, that there's.
Oh,
we lost Baron.
Baron,
come
Baron,
in
are
here.
you okay?
Can you read us, Baron?
I think your joke didn't land well, and that's why you got cut off.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
my internet connection. I don't know what the heck's with my internet connection. I'm gonna have to play around with that. But
hey, Rachel.
Oh, hi. But I really think that they're going to need to start doing that, and I think that will help out if they have to have a delay in the game, releasing it because of the bugs instead of just rushing it out there.
I think that's why when this developer team for this particular game, because they're the ones that literally saved, resuscitated, completely completely from the top down reworked and revigorated Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, because when that first got released, at least kudos on Square's part on this one. They did everything in their power customer service wise, and then Yoshi P and team kind of came in and just was like, you know what, we're gonna have to say that everyone's gonna get, or like we're gonna have to like literally clean the slate on this one and rework it our way. And that's what they did. And Square was like, yep, we gotta, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, it's more like, yep, we're in trouble here, we're just gonna leave it up to you. And clearly that's been a very popular MMO. And then of course Square was like, you know what, you get the next big one. So that's what they did. And I think, to me, they delivered. They definitely showed that they care. Not everybody is gonna like this kind of this new version or this way of being far more mature about it. And to counter your joke there, Baron, it is Final Fantasy, because at the end of the game itself, not this game, but usually most Final Fantasy games, is that the fantasy ends.
Yes.
So it's kind of, yep, it's in its own world and its own storyline. It's Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of tragedy in Final Fantasy. The thing is, Mags, that what I don't understand about a lot of the industry, and I know Baron brought some of it up with the Atari and so on, they're doing such a poor job, even with the showcase, even before the Koofa Doof, with when they had E3 still, and maybe E3 will come back, but they're doing such a poor job of marketing these games.
Yes,
and
I agree.
A lot of these AAA games, and then they're telling us now it's $70. They're trying to tell us that you should buy these consoles, and where's all the excitement? Once again, I'm still waiting for the excitement. You have broken games, like all the problems Jedi Survivor is having with PC. That's not excusable. Games that are now always online that shouldn't be always online, and then you see problems start happening with people, and they're like, oh, it has to be online because of pirates and this and that. I'm like, but people will still buy those games. And so we have all these problems: Call of Duty, the pandering, the companies, all this stuff. So it's like, and it's funny when Phil tells me that I'm being cheap, but it's like, it's the same with like Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I was going to do whatever it took to find that collector's edition, the best version, the special edition, whatever, instead of paying $70 for a base game, even on Nintendo, because I'm like, is it really worth $70? Is this Final Fantasy 16 game worth $70? Is games like Forbroken or Forspoken or whatever? It's just amazing to me that all this stuff is nonsense, and then the company's like, oh no, you have to buy this, and then the gaming journalists just back them up all the time with this crap. If it's the artwork, like I didn't care, and a lot of people didn't care a lot for the artwork of Monkey Island. I'm like, I don't like this block artwork. Why don't you guys go back to this? And then the creator or some of the people worked on, well, we're not going to talk about the information. They go cry in the corner about it. Then the media comes out and attacks the fans. This stuff is just ridiculous. So it saves me all this money, because this stuff is stupid.
It's funny too, because with this particular game, of course, games journalists and other people, you hear it's too many white people and all this other stuff, and you hear there's a lot of nitpicking. Because what was it? Somebody was nitpicking over, like, that's not how you properly put your sword in the back, and I'm like, bro, but these are like people who claim to be Final Fantasy players or games, like, but they still reference like things like Final Fantasy 7. I'm like, nobody has a big ass Buster sword and they put it on their back. Okay, y'all clearly don't understand how to separate between reality and kind of getting yourself into this world and space. Like, you have to have some suspension of disbelief, but at the same time, because that was one of the arguments I heard, and I'm just like, have you not even seen like Final Fantasy 9? We've got like Tails in that game. Excuse me, like, it's kind of, again, people will say things because they have their preferences, but to be quite honest, I feel like it's a dishonest review or take on it, because if you want to look at it that way, then other people can be like, well, here are the other Final Fantasy games in this list here that I can completely point out that this has happened, this has happened, this has happened, that you are claiming is a nitpick. So what you're saying is this game over here that should be also a nitpick. Oh no, it shouldn't be. I'm like, but then you're not being genuine about your review.
No.
You're just being
Right.
you're just being nitpicky and complaining for the sake of it, like a bunch of hot air. So for me, that it's very hard to wade through genuine takes. Now, will I say I do have some, like, so far from what I've seen, I do have some general criticisms, but I don't think it's enough to take it away. If you're truly somebody who likes story-based games like Final Fantasy, then I don't see how it would be a problem for anybody to enjoy it. I think they would enjoy it. Again, it's going to be based on somebody's cup of tea or taste. You know, some people have said that Final Fantasy 9 is the better game. Some people say that, you know, Final Fantasy 10 is the better game. Some people say, well, if Final Fantasy 4 is the better game. Like, again, it's based on tastes. But does it still have the general Final Fantasy feel? And for me, I think it's captured it well. Because it has to have that sense of elements of fantasy and not too much modernism-ish feel to it. And a lot of times with some of these more recent games, they seem to be a little bit too modern for my takes. Like the feel, the environment, everything is modern. Again, it's based on their own stories and worlds. I get it. But I'm like, I just feel like it's too much in that general direction for a modern way of looking. I see Mr. Tuckle Trunk in the chat. Yes. But it's just like people will find criticism over Final Fantasy X. They didn't like Titus because they thought he was, you know, weird and whiny and what have you.
Right.
I'm just like, but you know, okay, so I understand that concept. If you want to compare certain characters, let's look at back-to-back Final Fantasy 10 and 12, because 11 was the first MMO. And Final Fantasy 12 Vaughn was clearly not really the best main character. I think I remember hearing from somebody that actually it was Balthier who was supposed to be the main character, and they changed that, and you can clearly feel that like something was off.
Well,
so anyway, go ahead.
And it's the whole thing about the Tifa thing, and people go, oh, well, these people are perverts and this and that, and her age and this and that. And all it is what a lot of people are saying is they don't like the fact that they changed the design of the character to an extent. It's like, so you're trying to tell me that her features that's wrong now, and we have to have her wear a sports bra and all this. And there was a whole big thing, and then for whatever reason, GameSpot had this woman who was the woman who said too much water when she worked at IGN. She came out and said, this is how a bra size works. I'm just like, I can't believe the editor allowed this, or GameSpot allowed this to happen. It's like, what people are saying is you're trying to say that the woman can't have, you know, be well endowed or whatever, like she was before, and we have to change her because that's the way it is, and it'll offend people because it's just crazy.
I know. And it's I like the Gord King. Hey there, I see you in the chat. When people criticize Titus, I just laugh obnoxiously at them. I see what you did there. But the thing is, Gord King, you know, I can understand. The thing is, I can understand people's criticisms on the character, but I think what they fail to realize is that he had a father who literally abandoned him, but he didn't understand why, and he was angry, and he wasn't enough in his father's eyes, and he always admired his father. And then when his father let him down, I can understand his attitude. But then it's later down the road when he starts to realize what actually happened, his attitude changes, and he grows. So it's kind of like, I can understand people's annoyance with it. I get it. But it is, you know, it is what it is. You know, not everyone's going to like it. But
well, I think what we're all kind of saying here is that people are trying to bring too much reality into escapism fantasy, and we're seeing it across with a lot of the things we enjoy. such as Warhammer 40K, with people are going out there saying, "Wow, that armor just so ridiculous that they wear it," and the women have boob armor, and that's not right. and the Space Marines are all men because of genetics, and that's not right. We have to have female. And it's like, this is escapism. This is fantasy. And it's like, oh, you're all ists because you're playing in this oppressive universe. It's like, yeah, so it doesn't mean that you, the person playing it, is. Again, this is escapism. And we need that. It's like, well, that's ridiculous armor. Or that woman is wearing a chainmail bra and bikini. Yeah, and she's right next to a guy who's only wearing a loincloth. And the point is...
Well, and it's looking at it this way, Baron. It Waka. Let me talk about Waka here. He's a character in Final Fantasy X. He's probably not wearing the best kind of clothing either, and neither is Lulu the way she's dressed. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter because it works in the story that it is. Yeah, and
right.
It's I think people forget how to be able to. I think that's the problem with today too, is that they want their reality and their fantasy, and I'm like, this is not how it works, y'all. You need to be able to separate yourself from this story, and you need to be able to go into the story without yourself being there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
You're not the main character here. So stop being selfish to the main. Stop being selfish and annoying to the other characters. Let the characters have their day.
Right. I mean, as someone who studied, Middle Ages and such like that, yeah, I know a lot of this stuff was ridiculous. Does it take away from the fun? No, it only adds to it.
There were ridiculous weapons even back then, if you think about it. So it's
yeah. Oh, yeah. And, I got news for some people. There was boob armor for women back then. There was men, but they did have boob armor.
Right. And it's just crazy. And there's the whole thing about the censorship, and then those articles come out about how a brawl works. And, none of this helps. And it's just really stupid. It's like, why do you have to change the character? And that's why people will get invested in a character like Tifa, and then people are like, well, you know what age she is? She's like 15, 16. It's like, what people are trying to say is, why are you changing the character? It's the same with the art style. It's the same. People get irritated, and then the companies are like, well, some of them, as Baron pointed out, they get very arrogant. And then it's like, well, you'll accept this or else. Well, no, maybe I just won't buy your game.
No, I won't buy your product. How do you like that?
Exactly. Mike and I have had this thing. We look at stuff like the Monkey Island, for example. I don't like that art style, and that's the reason I will never buy that game. I don't care what people tell me. I just do not like that blocky art style. I like the retro type art style better. I like the art style for PS3 version they did, or the Xbox 360 version of Monkey Island, but I do not like that blocky art style. It's just garbage. I think it's awful.
That's all preferences too. I think people have forgotten to be able to truly separate their biasness and what is a true criticism of the game. Like, of games in general. And it's kind of like, oh, well, I need to have my reality in this and to be specific. No, I don't. I would like to be able to, like in Final Fantasy 16, be able to control kaiju type aeons and eidolons or icons, whatever their names now are, and to be able to do like monster battles as one of them. That is freaking cool. I've always wanted to do that in a Final Fantasy game, and they put it in this one. So it's like, that's not realistic at all. It's like, what?
Well, yeah.
No, but again, games are supposed to take you into the fantasy world.
Yep.
Escape. So let us have our escape.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have reality games, that's where you play Avalon Hills, D-Day, or Gettysburg, or those games, or Napoleonic Warfare. Those are your realistic games.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And
or civilization type games. I mean, it's just like, come on.
And real quick, Bush McFadden had a question for all of us. Why isn't Max on cam?
I don't know.
Because it's been a long day. I don't want to be the only one on camera. That's not fair.
I would be if I had my camera. If I had my camera, I'd be on there. But there are reasons why Cash Money is not on.
Mags knows what
because
I look like.
But the thing is if he's on, the camera. This is what we hear all the time.
Cash Money can put his change in my piggy bank any day.
Right. I mean, we just can't have that. He's just too handsome, especially with that manly chin.
Oh boy.
It's so crazy.
Well, we really took the conversation on
Yeah,
all
we did.
different directions there, Mike.
I know.
Sorry.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, you can
Yep,
blame
yep.
Bush. You can blame him. He's the one that asked the question.
Well, Release McCracken asked a good question too, and I commend that
I
because
doubt
I
it.
mean I like Release McCracken. Leave him alone.
Oh, Release McCracken. Oh, I thought you were talking about Phil McCracken.
Release
Sorry.
No.
McCracken.
Oh, Release. Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
I thought it was the other one. I thought it was the guy that we say this all
No,
the time.
no.
Worst troll ever.
Yeah.
No. Release the McCracken, not Phil
Yeah, there's too
McCracken,
many-
as
there's
you're
too many-
seeing on screen right now.
I
There's
have
too many
a beautiful
Krakens out there.
chin. You need to stop. You need to stop being jealous of my chin, Phil. It's okay.
No coupons for you, Phil.
So, Max,
Yes, Mike.
when it comes to YouTube and streaming games, I know you've done many chapters of Final Fantasy VI.
Yes.
What's been the best part of doing those streams for you?
Oh gosh. Really? I think my favorite one was I think my favorite one was when Mr. Tickle Trunk gave me wrong directions. But
I
think
can see that. Yeah.
he was telling me to go left, and I was going. He told me to go left, and it wasn't even the right left. It was like the wrong left. But
Well,
anyway,
yeah, if you're going right, that's not left.
I mean, remember in was it Cars? You got to go right to go left, kind of thing. But anyway, but anyway, so it's really just been going. You might as well ask Max which of your children is your favorite. What is it? I think really. Hey, Daryl. Anyway, so yes, you did. Stop it, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Even though they're the videos are not showing up right now. I have proof, so you can't deny it. Anyway, I think it's been just playing the game and trying to relive the game in its remastered form and seeing some of the changes and really commenting on what the game itself. But also, I think my favorite part of playing has been bantering with the chat, because that's always been so much fun. I mean, there's been so many derailments on things, it's not even funny. And I go into rants, of course, so there's that. Because I don't shut up sometimes, but
We never have that problem here, that's for sure.
but
Right, Cash?
I think my favorite
Yes, Baron.
chapter experience has been, oh gosh, in the game, probably really raiding the floating continent, because I completely forgot how high powered the monsters were, and I don't even remember if they were truly that high powered. I'm wondering if they've changed it with this Pixel remaster. But that was really funny, because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, I'm not ready for this part. I'm already here. And Mr. Trickletron's like, oh, you should be able to jump off. And I'm like, I can't jump off here, it's not letting me. And then like another monster battle happens. Because it's, it's because they've done so many changes and different things they've had. Of course, they have the original 94 game. They've done the Game Boy Advance game, which had some changes in it. I think they've had the mobile version that's had some changes in it, and I think they've even had I think they had also a PC game that they had on Steam at one point that had some different versions to it, but then they took it off for Square Enix to do the Pixel Remaster series for their remaster parts of it. But it's kind of like trying to remember certain aspects, because probably the last time I truly played the game has been on PC, but not Steam, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So-
you had an actual physical copy that you could actually put into the disk drive and install it and play it and not have to rely on Steam.
Yeah, in so many ways, yes. So let's just put it that way, because we don't many moves we no longer have the SNES, which I'm so sad about.
Oh.
Yes, we have, but that wasn't necessarily by choice. It was, we had to move, and when you're moving kids and homes in different states and several times in your life, then things get kind of sold off at some point.
Darn those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of miss the old NES. I actually miss the NES game controllers more than the SNES, but I'm kind of weird like that.
No, you're not weird. I still think back to when I got my NES 35 years ago, just playing Super Mario Brothers for the first time and actually moving the controller as I jumped, thinking that would do anything.
Well, and watching my brothers play Tecmo Bowl and all that kind of stuff, like that was, we even had the what do you want to call it, the cartridge case, where it kind of opened up like a garage, and the top part of it went back like in a wheel or something. I forget what it's called or what it looked like, but it matched the aesthetic with the NES and the SNES, and it was just like, I remember all of that stuff, and I'm like, why did we get rid of it? I'm still on the hunt for my original Game Boy Color, and I can't find it in the attic, and I'm really afraid if it got lost in the move here.
Oh no.
So I did not sell my kids, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Stop it. I don't have my kids. I actually was going. I went up in the attic the other night, and I saw all my horses that I have up there. So anyway, I'm on the hunt for like old stuff that's stored up in boxes for years. So I know there's a Pikachu plush up there, and I want to find that. So it's just a chore.
But going up to the attic and looking for that old stuff, it holds a lot of memories for you. A lot of fond memories, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, a lot of fond memories. I mean, there are things that I came across that I didn't even remember that we had. What was it? I came across some. It was old tape audio books from like the 80s, because it still had the copyright like 82, 83, 84 kind of stuff on it. On the book. The books are like falling apart, but it was an audio book of like Star Wars, and came with a book. So I did not sell kids for stop it. That wasn't me. I was too young, Mr. Trunk. Don't be spreading that hate. He's hate mine. Don't be spreading that hate.
Mr. Tickle Trunk is your troublemaker. Baron's mine.
Hey.
Yeah.
We give Mike both trouble. Sometimes Baron gives him more, but
yeah, he's my troublesome kid. So
I'm innocent.
I don't know, with a rat face like that, that's kind of
right.
King rat. Look at
it's
that.
very revealing.
King rat. No.
But yeah, it's I've been enjoying it. It's fun to play. Again, it's just like watching movies or old movies that I always like to enjoy and rewatch again. You talk about rewatchability in movies and that sort of and shows too. There's replayability in games, and Final Fantasy VI is definitely one of those games that has replayability. It has so many different layers to it and stories and the characters. There's so many characters. It's the only Final Fantasy game that has the most playable characters in it. And depending on how you utilize the party, you can have different story events that gets triggered if you have certain characters in your party. So it's just different layers of story and character development that you can't. I mean, I know other games have, but if you talk about it in scale, I'm sure there's other games that have that sort of that similarity in terms of different events and everything, but you can't find those types of games anymore. It's not there in modern entertainment.
And I was going to ask you if that's something you want to see them bring back. Games that actually have replayability, because depending on what characters you play as you mentioned, there's different outcomes, and the story is different.
Mm-hmm.
And, you may not find, if you don't have certain characters in your party, you're not going to get certain lore bits for that particular part of the storyline. The story will end the way it will always end, but but you get triggered events for story and deep lore and character development of different characters if they're part of the party. I'm a mischievous imp and a troublemaker. I don't know about that, Mr. Puppetron.
Aren't they the same thing?
Yes, you're a devious one, you.
Who, him or me?
Well, both of you.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm glad that my work is appreciated.
But yeah, it's there's well, like for me, I like replaying like Pokemon Red a lot, and other games like that, because I have such fond memories and nostalgia over it. And some of those games you play so much that you just memorize every single aspect of the game, and you can't take that away from people, or how we grew up and how we lived. And as much as places like Disney and other game companies and entertainment companies will definitely ruin those pieces of art, they can't take away what we had when we grew up with it. Those are memories that are forever. They may try to attempt to erase it, but they can't.
Right.
And it's basically not allowing them to take control or have power over you. And I'm not doing that.
Well, especially if you still have the old games, you can just plug them right back in, and there you go. I don't need you. I'm enjoying this. Thank you.
I know. For me, my if once I have more space, so to speak, I would love to go on a retro game hunt and try to find SNES and NES and make sure it's refurbished and clean, and everything's good with it, and start building up that collection, because I still miss those types of games. I miss playing like the Super Mario Kart on SNES. That was a fun game that I loved. Actually, it's really funny when the Wii came out, and it came out with like the wheel version for Super Mario Kart, where if you move your hands like you're steering the wheel or whatever, it moves with it on the screen. It's so funny because you have the SNES controller, and we did that anyway. But even though it didn't move with it, even though we're like, this is supposed to help it, but it really doesn't. It's just, I think it's just funny how things have changed in that regard. But yeah.
Well,
hey, Brandon.
Another thing about the classic games, whether it's NES, SNES, Genesis, I've seen it, and I know it myself, that you stream some of these games and people want to watch because they love those games so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
They want to share their experiences with you, and they want to see somebody else also share that same passion. It's like, oh, hey, I've met so many new other people in chats too who are other Final Fantasy VI fans, and it's like, oh, there's more of us out there? And it's like, yeah, there are definitely a hell of a lot more of us out there than people realize. And it's like, I didn't realize that. It's like...
I mean, that's why I like watching Mike, because it's nice to see someone who sucks as bad as me.
Hold on. And I know you did this on purpose, Barrett. I know you did.
Yep, he did.
But there is one thing here on this channel that I will never do, because I've already had to do it one time before. And it's called 1-800-555-NOOB. That's 1-800-555-NOOB. If you're like me, and at one point you're playing Jedi Fallen Order, and yes, it is here on the channel, and you're on the final boss fight, and you have to switch to easy mode, get yourself some help. And call that number, and let our specialists get you the help that you need, desperately need at this point, to play on a higher difficulty level.
Yeah, the phones are always open, so
it's funny. It's funny though. Like I don't really, I know some people, tease each other over like what kind of mode you choose. I don't really care. If I want to have fun with a game, I'm going to choose the mode that I'm going to have fun with. And if that's easy, normal, or hard, or any kind of difficulty, it doesn't really matter for me.
Ooh, don't let Master Paul hear that, Max.
No,
Oh,
please,
God.
please. We've been trying to train him, and he's hard to train. He really is.
He's very young. He's still trainable. You know, don't get old like me. And yeah, I'm not trainable. I'm quite stubborn. And if I want to play it in easy mode, then I'm going to play it on an easy mode. Damn it! So it's fine.
Yeah.
I
I
don't.
know
But you
what you
usually don't. I don't see you playing these Final Fantasy games on easy mode.
Well,
Well, if
technically
there is
speaking,
only one mode, I guess. But yeah.
well, if there's only one mode, yes. But you know, really for me, it's just I'm just stumbling along. I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. I'm just playing along to have a good time. And if it ends up being, you know, I play it the first time around on easy, then I might try it on the second round on normal. You know, like that's how people get introduced to these different levels. Now, if I played any modern games on normal or hard mode, there's no way you'll catch me doing that because I haven't played a quote unquote modern game since, oh God, I would say maybe Civilization 4. It's been a while. Like I haven't played any like newer type games ish in like even in the 2010s. So I am literally my level of gaming, if you want to call it that, is literally still stuck in like the 90s, basic 90s and early 2000s.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No, if you just want to play retro games forever, it's fine. It doesn't matter. There are modern games though you can find, Mags, that you probably will enjoy. Even Final Fantasy, even stuff. I discovered a game that's been out since like 2016 on PC called Dragon's Dogma. So it's pretty if you like that fantasy and you get a group and you put together a cool team and you go on missions and quests and whatever.
Yeah,
When he says cool team, he means not me.
well, and for me, like I'm always open to play certain games, but I know I have I'm very quirky with my older games because I play, you know, Final Fantasy, going from Final Fantasy 6 to Pokemon Red to Command and Conquer Red Alert to, you know, playing Civilization 2 and 3 and 4 and you know, Roller Coaster Tycoon.
That's a fun game. A lot
And
of
then
work.
watch, you know, and then and like I bounced all over the place in terms of genre and style, and it's just like now I'm very like, I don't have a whole lot of time. I'm just gonna go replay Final Fantasy 6 or something. It's just that sort of thing. But what was it? Several months ago, I started playing for the first time ever because I was like, maybe I should start playing, older games, but for the first time on my channel too, like because I like retro games. So I was just having fun, just figuring out, was it Star Wars Jedi Academy?
Yeah,
And
great game.
I got stuck on one level, and I'm like, okay, I'm glad
Oh,
I'm not
no.
I'm glad I'm not streaming this because I look like an idiot doing
It's all right.
it's a little confusing on the keyboard because of all like I feel like I'm mashing all the buttons to find combinations, and I'm like I can't remember any of this.
Yeah, there's some,
That's
like,
how I normally
puzzle-
play.
There's some puzzle thing, if I remember, like in the middle of that game or something that can be confusing, but after you get past that, it's not too bad.
It's I really do
I think it was some
enjoy it.
jumping thing.
I really do enjoy it. There was just one. I think it's just I'm just having trouble with the gaming mechanics of it, and maybe that's what it is. Because I'm so used to a different style of gaming mechanics, and I'm very boomer when it comes to stuff like that. So I think it would be hilarious to watch me, yes, foobar it and everything, but I want to be able to see if I can actually do it before, really making myself look like a total idiot on this.
Well, I can speak from experience, Max. You can play a game offline and do perfectly fine offline, and then once you hit that go live button, everything starts falling apart. You're like, wait a minute, I got through this part perfectly fine offline, and now I'm playing in front of everybody, and now everything's just going bad.
Well,
It always works that way.
One of my things is Final Fantasy 6, because I hadn't played it in so long. It's kind of like, okay, I remember, I remember certain important pivotal parts in the game, but like all the minute details of certain aspects, like I have completely forgotten. And when I'm playing it, I'm just like, it's like a deer in headlights. Like you're supposed to make this speech on a stage and talk to people. You've memorized this, and then you go up there and go, you forget everything. It's like it's just been funny because I'm like, oh my gosh, my memory is not as good as it once was. Oh my gosh. But it's been a blast. It's been fun. And I'm glad that people have enjoyed it. It's actually really nice versus some playing it on the keyboard. I have a Xbox controller that's plugged into my laptop, and I like playing with a controller. For me, I don't mind the keyboard, and I know a lot of specific PC games are like that, but I totally love playing with a controller. It's just, there's something nostalgia about it, and the feel of it, and it feels like home. So
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with playing with a controller. Some people, like you, myself, and others out there, are just more comfortable using the controller as opposed to remembering every single thing on the keyboard as far as attacks and power ups and everything. It's like, no, we got it all right here on the controller.
Controller's nice, and then the keyboard and mouse is nice for third person, even definitely first person. It's still the best, I would say, for first person shooters.
Well,
movement. Yeah,
I got to work on a keyboard. I mean, I guess that's what I'm used to.
I'll help
Or a joystick with one button on it, like the old Atari.
Well, see, I can completely understand where the keyboard. Like, again, I'm not saying it's definitely preferences. I feel like with the keyboard, and this is probably just limited gamer experience that I have, because I don't really consider myself a gamer. I call myself somebody who just likes playing games, and I'm very quirky with what I like. So I'm not like, oh, I'm going to play the latest and greatest game because reasons. Like, I never did any of that stuff. If I saw a commercial and I liked it, then I wanted it for my birthday. It's just like, it's just that sort of thing. So, but then again, I was just that weirdo kid that liked to watch her brothers play games too. I mean, I watched them play Unreal Tournament. So, and that's one of the games that I want to play on my computer because I have it in my wish list on Steam, just to kind of be like, oh man, I want to relive this. So I want to take my chance and shot at something like that and just see if people will laugh. But yeah, I mean, I'm willing to play newer games. I'm just going to be more specific about it and more particular because, again, we talked about the price of games. We talked about how the games, yes, they may be $70, but did you get the full game at all for $70? Is it pay to play, which is another reason why I don't buy a lot of games these days? And subscription based, I hate those types of games too. I've missed the games where you bought it one price and one price only. I do like one bit of news that I read, actually two bits of news, about the developers of Final Fantasy 16. They have said that if 16 does well, of course, games journalists, you gotta just kind of turn it off. I've seen a lot of people in live chats from different names that I have not seen before say that they like that they've played this game and they like this game. So I think there's going to be, you're going to see, you're going to hear loud people, but there are going to be very few of them. If 16 does well, the developers have said that they may have a DLC for it, but it's not something where, they left it out of the game for you to buy later. Like this was actually the game that they presented, and that's it. If the game does well and people want more, then they will say, okay, well, we will do more for it. And then the other bit of news is that I did read in two different places. So it's not like I just read it from one site and it was speculation. It's from two different places. That they are looking at doing a Final Fantasy IX remake. So that's going to be not the same developers. I don't know who would be on that team, but Final Fantasy IX remake. So wondering what that will look like, if they're going to do it like the Final Fantasy VII remake style, there have been people who have approached people there, so to speak, who want a Final Fantasy VI version of that. So, but their next remake project is literally Final Fantasy IX. So who knows? I think they're missing out, because next year, 2024, would be the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy VI, and they are clearly blowing that right now. They could.
I mean, that'd be an awesome way to celebrate the 30th anniversary. Hey, you like the Pixel remaster? You like the original game as it was? Well, guess what? We have a Final Fantasy VI remake for you.
Exactly.
Have at it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they've remade so many other things. I mean, it's quite possible they could finally do 6. We'll see, though. But
there has been nothing on celebrating the 30th anniversary of it. There has just been not a zip nothing. I have not even seen any word about talking about celebrating next year. And I'm just like, why? I don't understand. You do this for every other game. Like, why?
Yeah. Right.
Well, why are you neglecting one of the most beloved entries into the franchise by just ignoring it? You think now you would be hearing on different game sites and other, blog posts, hey, guess what? Sony and Square Enix are going to be releasing a special remastered version of Final Fantasy VI.
Or heck, even just making if they're waiting for an actual announcement to showcase some of what they, like a teaser trailer, like 10-second teaser trailer or something for it next year, I'd be over the moon for just a little bit of something like that. But I have heard nothing, like not even like merch line, not necessarily merch line, but like collector's type stuff. And I'm just like, well, this is really dumb. This is the 30th anniversary next year.
Yeah, and I think the developers, Square Enix, whatever, I think they said like, oh no, we can't remake this. I'm pretty sure they've said this in the past. For whatever reason, they say they don't want to remake Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy III or whatever you are call it, but because they said they just can't emulate what they did before. Well, I don't know. When I hear that, I'm like, yeah, but then there's this possibility of Chrono Trigger coming back, which is considered one of the greatest Japanese RPG games ever, or RPG games ever made by many people. That's right.
And if they were able,
so what's your excuse? Yeah, what's their excuse?
Because I mean, if you look at the original Final Fantasy VII, it's still in a pixelated format. If you think about it, it's not that great. And if you look at the graphics compared to how we have graphics today, the graphics then is not that great either. It's all very blocky and chibi like. And it's still rather like the menu screens and everything are still in the same style as the pixel game. So it's kind of like, I don't see. I guess what they're saying is that it's a little different concept because of the overworld experience. But you can, if you have the right team on it, that's totally that certainly loves Final Fantasy VI and will respect it. I think they will. I think it will just be a mind-blowing experience for the fans. I don't see how they can't do something like that. I mean, I can understand their reasoning, but they could totally even add a little bit more into the game for lore and depth. You can use even some of the like Ultimania books where there's more lore building and depth to it. For the game itself. So I don't know. I guess maybe they're afraid of the fans to be mad at them, but I'm like, but you made changes to Final Fantasy VII that some fans didn't really care for, so I don't know. It is what it is. So I still think that they are literally wasting this opportunity. That's all I'm saying, because it's the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, they are. I agree.
They are.
Yeah, I agree.
They are, and getting back to your channel real quick, where do you see your channel, say, 6 months from now or a year from now?
Um. Oh gosh, I guess it's hard to talk about like myself and my channel. Not because it's not easy. It's just it's for fun. Of course, you know, it's hard to make YouTube a job. It would be fun to have it that way because then you can set your own hours and really, really put like 100% into it.
Right.
But you know, for me, because I have so many ideas and plans that I would like to execute and have fun with. And definitely will be playing games on there. It's probably going to be mostly a gaming channel at this point. But you know, I'd like to do some videos on there. You know, I would like to see myself maybe be a little bit bigger in growth and have more content out there for people. But really, I'm there to have fun. I'm not there to, you know, if I do get monetized one day, yay! But it's not like the, you know, the end all be all for me.
Right.
You know, I'm certainly grateful for all the support and all the people out there who have supported me and have been there for me. Who, you know, who do shout out my channel when I'm just like when I don't even do it myself. It's just, I guess for me, it's just, I don't know. It's just been a weird ride on YouTube because I don't really. For what it's, I'm not in the entertainment. No, again, I don't call myself a gamer. I'm more of a person that just enjoys video games because I'm eclectic with what I like. You know, I like talking to everybody and just supporting everybody. And for me, I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm, you know, I don't have all the in the know with like, I have somebody in Marvel who talks to me kind of thing. Like, I'm just not that kind of person. I don't have that. I'm a nobody. Like, but I just, you know, hopefully people can find my channel to be entertaining and hopefully a form of escapism for them as well. And, you know, I just want to have a space for people to just, you know, again, pull up a bar stool. Let's chat. Yeah, again, you know, hopefully I can grow. And right now, you know, I'm on a little hiatus with everything because it's, you know, it's the summer and it's 4th of July week coming up, and it's probably a good opportunity to do that. And you know, it's always good to kind of gain your perspective by taking a step back and, you know, clearing your head on a few things. And you know, sometimes you just come back with a little bit more energy and have better ideas and maybe better execution on things. And who knows what I will come back with. So I am going to be touching some grass, people. And not that kind, Baron. Stop it.
Yeah. I was going to say important folks. She said touching, nothing more.
But yes, but you know, hopefully people will, because right now I don't. Some people, I know how I've heard some YouTube success stories and everything, and they're like, well, you have to have goals, you have to have a vision, and everything, and I'm just like, you know, I work full time. I have a family. I have friends outside of YouTube. I have, like, of course, I talk to you guys as much as I possibly can. You know, I call that outside of YouTube, meaning like we actually have like DMs and such. And I value my relationships with people more than my channel. So, it's just, I'm just hoping that people find it interesting and fun. I do have some plans where I want to, and I've talked about this before, but it's just kind of one of those things again that, like I said backstage, I'm not an editor, so it's just I need to come up with a way to do that. And then I would would love a video interview series that I just would like to highlight people's passion in entertainment and you know, where they come from and what, you know, what made. Basically, the premise is the entertainment that made us, and it can be anything like video games, comics, anime, manga, you know, it can be specific. Star Wars, you know, a lot of us came to YouTube because of Star Wars. So just an interview series of talking about what we all love and the passionate side of us, rather than talking about something ugly and negative. So, and it's valid ugliness and criticism of it. But sometimes you just need, again, perspective to kind of refocus on what made us happy to begin with.
Mm-hmm. You know, what gave us that bright, shining beacon of hope whenever we played a game, whenever we watched a movie or a TV series, there was something about it that just brought a smile to our face, and we forgot about everything that might have been bugging us that day.
Yep.
Which is escapism is important.
And Lorenzo, yes, I did private all my videos right now. I didn't see with me. I didn't want it to be a how do you want to call it? I didn't want to be like attention seeking thing where it's like channel is currently under hiatus or whatever. Like I didn't want it to be like my channel is under attack. Like thank you for looking for the content. It is there. It's just privated right now. I just didn't want people to think that I was doing that for attention seeking purposes and trying to get people to watch my stuff. It's not that. So I kind of kept it that way for that reason, because you know how people are on the internet. They will speculate and whisper, and it's so I just kind of there's a clean slate with it. It will all be back when I am back to full status. It's just
Hey, Cash,
we all have to take a breather.
Yes.
She privatized all her videos, Cash. Do you hear that? Do you hear that? Whisper, 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 whisper.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so it's there, Lorenzo. Thank you for asking. But yeah, it's just to kind of mitigate any kind of attention seeking, because you know how some people are on around this sphere. Not
they'll
this
look
particular
into something
sphere.
that isn't true.
Yeah, exactly. And people will whisper and they will speculate, and no, that's not it. But yes, it will be back, Lorenzo. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, just hang in there. It will be back. I just need to kind of refocus on things. So
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yep. So and yes, you're welcome, DJ Ronnie G. Thank you. I don't know. I just like to keep it real on that. Like, you know how some people are. They'll be like, oh, this is, like I'm gonna be on hiatus, but I'm gonna leave everything up and attention seek. I'm like, no, that's not me. I'm just like, bye. There's nothing there for you even to try. So, gosh.
I'd rather be real. I'd rather be honest with people, even when it's on stream, instead of coming on stream and something's bugging me and just going, hey guys, what's up? Hey, yeah, everything's good. If I'm having a bad day, there have been times where I've canceled the stream because I don't want that bad attitude to come across on stream.
And I've had that happen to me with even the game streams, because I love playing Final Fantasy VI, but I could just be having I know I'm having a very off day. And I know I'm not going to bring that kind of energy, and I didn't want that to spill out onto the chat. So it's like, nope, I'm just not having a good day, y'all. And, yep, we're having it canceled. So yeah, I mean, it really is like, as much as YouTube says we're for mental health. No, you're not. It's important to also take care of yourself too. And so if that's one way for you to do it, then screw anybody else who tries to speculate otherwise, because they're gossip people. So whatever.
Yeah,
we're YouTubers. I thought that's what we're all into. Are we gossipers?
Well, I find it funny though. YouTube likes to punish us. That's why if Rumble actually does make rumblings, haha. But really, if they do, that would put pressure on Twitch and YouTube. And I think we need some more competition. I really do, because even when you're doing live streams on YouTube, while it can be fun, it does feel like they're punishing you. Like, you do videos or you do shorts, or we're going to punish you on here, and it's weird.
Yep, yep. And for me, I always like to say these things. Always diversify your platforms. It's just like you need to
Yes,
diversify where you invest your money. You need to diversify
agreed.
where your presence is on the platforms. You can't. YouTube is a for even for its faults is still the place to be. So you need
Mhm.
to have a presence here, and then try to build up other presences elsewhere. I've recently did multi-streaming to YouTube and Kick, and that's done well so far. So it's you got to do what's best for you. If you can handle it, great. If you feel like you just want to concentrate on one thing, that's great. But just be mindful that if you're gonna be limiting your eggs, putting all your eggs in one basket, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, um, just be mindful of there's pros and cons in either way. So
Mhm.
you got to
Hmm.
do what's best and comfortable with for you.
Yes.
Yep. And Baron or Cass, you have any other questions you want to ask before we get ready to wrap this up?
Not really. I think.
I don't know. I think Meg's covered a lot. Um, are you a I, are you a fan? Here's a movie because I've seen a lot of us have seen your picture, obviously, Mags, and I think you look like a younger Gina Davis. I'm serious, and so I was curious, really.
Oh, here we go again.
What
But
did we,
I was
Cash.
what did I just step into, Mike?
I don't know. I don't know.
And
but
you were worried about me.
I was wondering, are you actually a fan of League of Their Own? Because I think it's a very good movie, but
um I probably League of Their Own. I probably didn't watch it. So
oh, okay,
Oh, you should see it. It's a great film.
yeah, it's
So,
really good. Yeah.
I
so
I am
Max,
I am one
do
of
you
those
like?
types that Mr. Chuckle Trunk makes fun of me for. Like, I haven't seen a lot of other movies, but I'm like, but
Oh,
I've seen like but like I go back right back at him and I go, have you seen Casablanca? Have you seen Gone with the Wind? Have you seen
Mhm.
any of these other movies? So
Yeah,
there,
I am.
Bridge over River Kwai and all those other good movies back in the day. So
yep.
there.
So, Max, do you like guys with a pronounced chin?
Oh my god.
I'm just trying to help you out here, Cash. You're a game there.
No. I'm just saying. You know who Gina Davis is, though, right, Max? I don't want to.
Actually, I had to Google search her. See, I tell you, I'm not really good on
That's
these
funny.
things.
Yep.
But see, look, Mr. Chuckle Trunk already knows the League of Their
Yeah.
Own is great, especially the peeing scene.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Good.
like, nope,
Yep.
I have not seen that one. But
Okay, so that's why. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, I think you might like the movie a lot. It's really good, and it's based on a true story as well. So.
And it's based on the All-American women's
Mhm.
baseball team
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
played the game while the men were over, in Europe and Japan during World War II.
Yep. But look, maybe I'm wrong about this, but since you're here, Mister Trickle Trunks, Trunk,
Wow.
do you think she looks like a younger Gina Davis? Let's see what his response is.
I don't think he wants to step in that minefield there, Cash.
It's not. It's a
Careful,
compliment, actually.
careful, careful.
a younger Gina Davis? I don't see a younger Gina Davis picture.
Mm.
I see more current ones.
Yep, add it to the list. I agree.
Yeah,
Mr.
you should.
Trickle
That is a
Trunk.
good film. Yeah.
It is. It's quite a good film.
Good cast in there too.
Add it to the list, yeah, my ever-growing list of things to watch. I'm gonna be like 90 years old by the time I finally finish all of these things.
Yeah, and what's wrong with that? At least you got something to go until. It's just like YouTube. It's like going in there without a plan. You just yourself. Those are the ones that
man.
always seem to become popular. If you're going in there with all this detailed stuff, they can tell that you're a machine. Going in there without that, just being yourself. Sometimes that's the thing that's gonna, despite your best efforts, make you take off.
But do you see the resemblance, Tickle, or not?
I don't see it.
Okay. Well, she
Honestly.
doesn't see it then.
Trickle.
That's
He
funny.
says it right there. No, she does not look like a young Gina Davis. Thank you.
All
I don't
right.
see it. What are you, Cash? What's wrong with you?
I don't know. You'll have to excuse him. He's a Dodgers fan.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
You know,
my
Cash.
team's still doing better than you, Mike.
Oh, will you pipe down?
What the hell are you talking about? Oh, my guidance counselor says that certain words perpetuate this sexist worldview that could trigger.
Quiet! From now on, you won't listen to your guidance counselor. You're going to listen to me. Is that understood?
Yeah, sensei.
See, there you go. Mr. Tickle said it. The more I see it, they could be cousins, but definitely not sisters.
Okay, going to a weird area here.
I don't- I
we
don't-
have.
I don't.
You know-
I don't see
Thanks,
it. so-
Cash. Thanks.
Man.
How come he doesn't get the? All right, you're out of here. Come on.
I played this first before I play it, Baron.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
And now.
All right, youngster, out you go.
Don't come back! Ever!
You know, I'm so proud. That didn't happen to me this time. I am so happy.
It still might.
What do you mean?
Oh, my
You heard me.
gosh.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yes,
So-
Max. This is pretty much a regular on Pop Talk. I'm usually having to kick one of them out.
So you have to be the adult here. Is that what it is?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, when Cash starts talking and this happens.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Oh my gosh.
So
We've been
before-
behaving today, to be honest.
well, some have been behaving, some have not.
I've been on good behavior, I'd say. I'm
But-
still here.
Before the group departs, is there anything you want to add? And no, Cash. No, absolutely not. No. I'm not letting you back in. Not yet.
Oh, no, yeah. Okay.
I really don't have anything else to add. For me, especially 2023 has been a mixed bag of games and everything. Honestly, play the games that you want to play, and don't listen to quote unquote critics. A lot of times they're just full of hot air and they just want to hear themselves speak. So definitely see it with your own eyes, play it with your own, with your own controller, whatever. And make sure you take care of yourself as a YouTuber. So it is okay, as much as YouTube might punish you or whatever. It is okay to step away sometimes, to gain a little perspective, to refresh yourself, to re-energize yourself, to, I think sometimes some people just get so caught up in YouTube or this parasocial, digital space, that they forget about being a real human being outside of it. Not them saying people aren't real. It's just, I think sometimes people generally get into they forget who they are. And we'll see this where, things implode or there's drama or there's something else. It's like, you know what? Sometimes it's just good to step away from all that and just kind of turn it all off and just enjoy time with family, with friends and everything else. And then come back with a different kind of vengeance. So there you go.
You're absolutely right. There are times where we do have to take a break. I mean, one of the things I like to do is actually go out and do yard work.
Yep.
I find it relaxing.
And don't even forget the important things in life, like people's, your family's birthdays. There's certain events and everything. Don't give that up for the sake of YouTube and everything else. And I understand for people who do it for a job. I understand that, but don't forget to prioritize things a little differently. I don't know. Make sure you have boundaries on things, and I think that's important too. So,
well,
well, it
considering
is
that,
because. Go ahead, Baron.
Oh,
all right, Baron.
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was considering that, even in the professional world, I mean, TV shows, they have their downtime. That's why we have reruns and such. Even in the quote unquote professional world of entertainment, they need to take a step back then until the next season comes around. Why should we as YouTubers be punished for the same thing?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, and YouTube will punish us for stuff, unfortunately. But we like to have fun on here, Mags. And the guests we bring on, we try to keep it as professional as much. If Phil was on here, he might start asking other questions that we don't need.
Wait, Cash, you're professional? I'm confused.
Sometimes. Other times not.
Oh, come on! I've got it. I've got to have a clip for that.
I gotta find a clip.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna use this one.
The hell you say?
You don't think we're professional enough on here, Mags? Or are you just joking again?
No,
Well-
I'm specifically pointing you out, but yeah.
Oh.
what she's asking you, Cash, is
what would you say you do here?
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people?
that's what she's asking.
Is that what you're asking, Mags? I've known you for a while. Is that
I know you. We've known each other for what, almost 2 years now. It seems like
crazy. Yeah.
Seems like forever.
Oh God, it's been forever. Jeez, I'm just kidding.
It's forever. Gosh, it's too long. Yeah, I know.
Forever and ever.
Well, real quick, classic music.
Okay.
Classic pop rock music. You don't get that anymore. You don't get those songs that the moment you hear it, you're energized.
True.
This is why I either listen to, like, because I was literally born and raised with my dad's what I call classic rock albums, like the actual albums. So he had it. He had 8. So grew up with that, and on the classic rock stations, and the 80s and 90s musics. It's just, you don't hear that kind of, like, today's music is not like that at all.
No.
Like, to get that energized, like, I don't care. I will sing out to Van Halen in the car. I mean, there's certain songs, and even like I know Journey gets overplayed, but who cares? It's a fun song. Songs that they have, and
Don't stop.
Yeah,
believing.
everybody sings it, no matter how many times we go like, "Well, it's overplayed." I'm like, but you still sing it. It's like you will still sing it. It's okay.
All it is music now, rap, hip hop, whatever. Even other hip hop or people who did hip hop are like, it's just noise now. A lot of it is just soulless. Where is the passion in there?
And auto tuning.
Yeah,
auto tuning too is horrible. It's just,
one of my first few albums that I had was the Best of Heart, because I loved the song Barracuda, and then I discovered other music on there that I don't hear very often on the radio, and it's kind of, I don't know, you don't get that kind of style of music anymore.
No, you don't get those ballads anymore like you used to.
No.
That, you just listen to it. You just enjoy it for what it is.
I'm starting to feel old.
Well,
people are calling it classic. I remember what was new.
Well, classic can still be like fine wine. It just ages really well.
Oh, unfortunately, I haven't. But yeah, the music,
Yeah, I agree, Baron.
Yep. No argument here.
But we always have fun on here, and but yeah, the music, it's a lot of stuff. It's entertainment. Like, it's supposed to be enjoyable, and especially if you're paying for it, And with all the politics and stuff, and even just taking that out, it's just like people will say, you'll be like, who is this person? It's who are you? It's like, wow, you got so upset about that. Like, I haven't heard of a lot of these artists, and I don't think I really want to.
No.
Well, it's even like
for me.
a lot of actors and actresses that people keep being named for newer projects and such.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't even recognize these people at all.
Yeah.
And that's just a sad state of it. There's no, there's the death of the movie star. That's the death of the real, real musician out there. It's all soulless.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Every time
I listen to more, like, because I have Spotify. I listen to more video game type music or Two Steps from Hell type music more so than anything else now. It's like,
Interesting.
gosh, as far as modern, more recent type music is concerned.
I couldn't tell you. All I know is they keep on trying to push Lizzo on us. I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
I don't see her
don't get
appeal. I
that.
just don't.
And that's another thing, like, just actually being serious. This whole thing now, Mags, where we're looking at someone like Lizzo and we put her in the cover of a health magazine and we're saying this is now considered healthy. I go, no, that's not. No, what are you guys doing? Like, this is ridiculous.
I want to be on the cover of Men's Health. I want to be on the cover of Men's Health. If she's on it, I want to be.
I agree, Baron. They should put you on the cover.
Oh gosh.
But no, you're absolutely right, and it's like, why is she such a special person to play? Which president's flute? I can't remember. Madison's or whatever. It's like, you're not that good, and every time they bring these other ones in and tell us how great they are, it's like, no, they're not.
Yeah, no, they're not, and it's just weird. It's the same thing. Like somebody said, "Oh, I can now make a character in Diablo 4 that looks like me." Okay, I'm happy for you guys.
That's less than I want.
You know what I did in Star Wars Jedi Academy? I created a character that did not look like me. It was it was a Twi'lek. So there you go.
Oh my word! Yeah, I mean that's the last thing I want to see is my fat form just blobbing through. Oh, I'm coming after you. Oh, wait a second. Gotta catch my breath. Man, I don't want to see me. Let's face it. It's like.
Oh gosh.
Again, I want escapism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to escape from me. I need to lose a few pounds myself. So.
But before we leave here, Max, is there anything you'd like to promote? It could be your channel. It could be someone else's channel. Something that you're excited about.
Well, I'm excited for July. So there's some movies that are coming out. Oppenheimer. And,
yes.
I'm looking forward to
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Yep.
Barbie, Mission Impossible, and what's the Jim Caviezel movie that's coming out July 4th week?
Oh, that looks really good too.
It's something to do with human trafficking.
Oh my!
Yeah, it is.
I want to see that. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to those movies. A channel that I want to shout out, in particular, or actually, I would say 2 channels specifically. Actually, let me say 3 at this point.
Okay.
I'm shouting out Jacob Ironside. He is, I think, around 200 subs. I'm not sure, but he's taking a break too. But right now, it'd be really, really cool if people subscribe to him. He does he does a lot of movie discussion reviews on Tuesdays. He talks about he can go from talking about the old Twilight show to talking about, I think when he comes back from his break, he's talking about Bridge Over River Kwai on Tuesday the 11th. So please check him out. He's a really cool friend in the community. And he does an awesome job and really puts together a lot of good panels and what have you. And he said, I think I heard him say that he's going to be doing a new show on the weekend. So I'm not sure what that will look like, but I'm sure he will have more details to come. Another channel I want to shout out is definitely R1 Avalon. She needs a lot of watch hours. So if anybody could watch any of her content, that would be great. And the third one is the VacTube. Those are all very good people. Arlena, Daryl, Fat Steven shows up on there. I think Pop shows up on there, and other people show up on there. And they always do put together really fun panels talking about stuff and just having a good time and kicking back and really just kind of, just hanging out with friends. So those are all good channels. And Anonymous, I will definitely shout you out because you say promote my channel, Mags. You did not say please.
Wow, just so rude. Why are people so rude today?
Oh, wait a moment. Anonymous is... how did he sneak in without this?
Anonymous. Anonymous. Anonymous.
But he does say promote my channel, Mags. You didn't say please, but I'm going to imply that you said a please. So definitely a shout out to Anonymous.
Yeah, it's Anonymous.
Yeah. So definitely all good channels, good people. So yeah, LOL.
That's
but anyway, so a lot of good people in the YouTube space, even with all the craziness that does go on around the place. So but yeah, those are my shout outs.
Alrighty.
Nice.
And that leads us to Baron. What do you have coming up?
Nothing much yet. Obviously, you got me on Pop Talk here on Wednesdays. Of course, you know what time it is here, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. And, of course, Pop Talk Sunday at noon with, of course, these three gentlemen, unless Cash is asleep on the keyboard. 5 o'clock Central Standard Time on Sunday also on 24/7 Fusion Media's channel is the Primetime Kings of Live Stream with the Tower of Power himself. Good old 24/7 Fusion Media, the ever-mysterious Vigilante Williamson. And cruising in from the Hollywood Nights is New Bomb Turk and yours truly. And you can catch us again, like I said, Sundays at 5 o'clock on 24/7's channel. And I hope to pop up here and there in some other streams here. I just need to get my ass going. Can I say that on the air?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that's why the disclaimers are, Baron.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's because of me. I forgot.
Right. All right, Cash, you're up.
Nope. All right. So, last week was quite amazing because Baron and I, Paul, and of course Mike, we all played Broforce and we beat Satan. We finally beat Phil McCracken, so that was amazing.
On the hardest mode, no less.
On the hardest difficulty, and
Yes,
everybody
sir,
who was there
yes, sir.
contributed. That was awesome. And then this week, just haven't played it yet, but coming up is Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun.
Oh, yeah.
There's and I will plan some discussion streams. Maybe Mags would want to be on one of those. I don't know if she's not busy. We'll have that. But right now, when other people are busy within the Phantom Hooligans, including Daryl, is a founding member. He is. It's funny to think that the VacTube started other channels, Mags.
I know.
It's crazy, but and so so I'll be playing Bolt Gun this week, and then I'll be playing another game this weekend, and then of course on Sunday I'll be with Baron and Mike again for Pop Talk. So, yep.
The bad thing about that Bolt Gun is you got to play an Ultra Smurf. You play an Ultra Smurf in that game.
Got to play the Space Marine and destroying the things with the chainsaw and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Ultra. You're playing an Ultra Smurf though. The Ultramarines and the weenies.
Oh,
the weenies of 40K.
Weenies. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
I mean, get somebody in there like the Dark Angels. Or
that's what's coming up on the Phantom Hooligans, not the Phantom Hooligans, because for some reason YouTube allowed the channel Phantom Hooligans. Two different channels. The Phantom Hooligans was like a music channel, I guess, and the Phantom Hooligans is just it was. Yeah. So that's coming up.
Alrighty. And as far as Pacific 414 is concerned, tomorrow I will be streaming Jedi Survivor. I've already recorded something related to it after going through it last night and trying to get all the bugs tweaked out as best as I can. So that recording will play before the actual live stream of the game begins. And then, of course, Friday I will be on Phantomology with the former Master Paul of the Star Wars guys.
Oh, yeah.
And we will be talking Generation 1 Transformers on his channel.
Just call him Padawan Paul.
And then, of course, Sunday, there will be the Sunday edition of PACIFIC414 Pop Talk. I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about yet. Who knows? Maybe I'll talk a little Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I am going to see that movie on Friday, and I will post a short video. I know. I could hear some people right now saying, "Why are you doing it? Why?" I'm going to tell you.
How dare you?
Because Indiana Jones has always been one of my favorite characters. I knew Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones before I knew him as Han Solo in Star Wars. So I want to see this for myself. I want to judge it for myself, just like I've done with other movies. Judge it for myself, and if I see some things that are good, I'll let you all know about it. If I see some things I don't like, I'll definitely let you know about that, too.
You're betraying the cause, man. You're betraying the cause. Oh.
Well, you know what, Baron? Sometimes...
Uh-oh, you're going to get kicked, Baron. You're waiting.
No. You're just jumping the gun, Cash. Sometimes...
I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain.
Yeah, we know. You're a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
You know what I forgot to play when Cash got kicked out? This is what I forgot to play for him.
Help! I'm being repressed!
We always have fun on here, Mag. So that's what it's all about with any channel. It should always be about having fun. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, we dialed it back today because of you. So.
We did. Yeah, we were trying to be. I will say again, we were trying to be more professional, right?
I don't know if you can be professional with those PFPs going on with the switching back and forth.
True.
But yes, it's been a blast. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Baron. Thank you, Cash, for letting me talk today. And
no problem. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so. Thank you so much. It's nice having guests.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yes, it's very.
You know what I like about you, Mags? You talk, and that's what we want for guests. It's like I want to talk as little as possible when there's a guest on, and you fulfilled that. You're a great guest.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes, and of course, I probably talk too much.
Oh hell no!
It's funny because Mags.
It's perfectly fine, Mags. You're the guest. We want you to talk. They don't want to hear me. They don't want to hear Baron. They don't want to hear Cash. They want to hear
me.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they hear enough of us.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
But it's always a lot of fun to do Pop Talk and talk about all the pop culture and entertainment news. But it's also nice to take a break from that and talk to other people in this YouTube community who we've gotten to know either in the chat or having been on panels with them, and just to hear about their story. Like Pop says, what's your story?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And as we can tell through the whole thing, you're a real person, and that's what's important. You're not going out there and doing this plastic routine and not being yourself. And
exactly.
Yeah, most of the time I'll say things and I'll get myself into trouble.
It's all right. So
I would know nothing about that at all.
Oh, nothing at all. I mean, there are times somebody tells me, "Shut up, Mike." It's like, okay, that's the perfect opportunity for me to say something.
I don't need to get myself in trouble. I say things that are logical and reasonable, and people still get mad at you, and so do you, Mags. I've seen things that she said on Twitter, and people get upset. I'm like, what is she saying that's wrong?
Or I love it when people say
Yeah.
something that's out of topic at all,
Uh-huh.
and to make it, it's annoying.
This is Mags. This is Mags and Cash on Twitter.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
That is me. Yes. That is me.
Yeah. And I get it. There's a lot of people out there that don't want the heat, but if you're saying something logical, reasonable, and even truthful, and people don't like it, too bad. I mean, too bad.
I've been attacked by multiple different types of people. I'll just put it that way.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, well. I mean, I can remember not liking Falcon and Winter Soldier. I didn't like it. I voiced my opinion on Twitter, and people came after me. It's like, you're obviously not understanding the point I'm trying to make.
That's where we need the Greta
dumpster fire.
That's where we need the Greta Thunberg. How dare you?
Yeah, that nutcase.
But real quick, I do want to thank everybody who came by during the stream and shared out the stream, left a like. I want to thank Anonymous. Anonymous. And of course, we had Spock's Friday nights. We actually had 2 Spocks and 2 McCracken.
We did. I think one of them was crit, though. That's my feeling. The McCracken.
You never know, but
Lorenzo Sleestack? No. The other McCracken, he's real. He's not crit.
Really? Wow.
Really.
That is something. Okay.
They're multiplying out there. That's a scary thing.
Yeah, it is. They're becoming a cult.
And also, Brandon, the anime guy, was here. He will be a guest of Pop Talk in a couple of weeks.
Hey, Brandon.
What's up, Brandon?
And Daryl the Derelict.
Mm-hmm.
One member of the back 2, so it was good to see Daryl. And Bush McFadden was here.
He just started that question. I love it.
Yeah, he's the one that caused the big derailment.
He did. Yeah. It's all his
Don't
fault.
blame us. It was his. Yeah, exactly. I'm innocent this time.
Raquel was here. Thank you for stopping by, Raquel.
Hey, Raquel.
Keely Chow was here. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, man.
And, of course, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Don't cause too much trouble out there.
Yeah, that's our job.
and speaking of causing trouble, here's Phil McCracken. Who's always causing...
Yeah.
Exactly. Who's always causing trouble, but...
Always.
I think he's met his match. I think Phil's met his match because we had Release the McCracken.
Mm-hmm.
Place a wager on that duel right there.
Well, Phil is feisty, so,
And speaking of 2 Spocks, here's the first one. Of course, we already saw Spock's Friday nights. Well, we also had Logical Spock here tonight as well.
It's only logical.
And, of course, everybody's favorite Orca Boy from Everest Productions, Lord Crit. Although he's got a great picture of him with Jonathan Frakes from a convention in Seattle this weekend.
That is one happy orca. That's all I gotta say. That shit-eating grin he's got. Oh, I don't blame him.
No. It's a great picture.
It is. It's a wonderful picture.
And, of course, we had the Padawannabe. I wonder what kind of gum challenge he'll take next.
I can only be nice to a certain extent.
DJ Ronnie G was here. Chris Maddox was also here.
Yep.
And Samuel was here. Samuel the Infamous. And Jet Sparks 373 was here. Of course, H Boomer was here. He was our guest last week, along with Troy Pacelli and Netters Network.
Yeah.
And of course, our lovely guest, Magitek Max. And everybody's favorite penguin, Low Specs Linux Laptop. And last but certainly not least, because she was the first in the chat, Apollome's Minion.
Nice.
Hey, Apollome's.
So I do want to thank everybody for watching, listening, lurking. If you like this stream, please make sure you subscribe to everybody who is here on the panel, to your fellow members of the chat. And until then, I think I'm just going to go ahead and play this clip. I played it backstage before we went on air, and now it's time to play it as we're going off the air.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
You think we scared her away?
I'm still
not going to
here.
answer that.
Don't be an ass, Baron.
I'm not an ass.
Pop Talk is where it's at, baby.
I mean, I might have a big one. But that's beside the point.
That's what he said.
Can't take
Can we
you
keep
anywhere,
her?
Baron.
Can we keep her? She fits in just fine.
That's up to Max. That's up to Max.